put you in the middle. There's sage and a cross.
Oh, God.
Would it make you feel better if there was a bowl of Captain Crunch?
No, I don't like Captain Crunch. I tell you what, you should have seen some of the animal pelts they had up there today.
Were they gorgeous?
Oh, my God.
That was a fox.
Yeah, guys, we're live. They don't know it yet. I'm just kind of putting them on the spot.
Fox face come down over the front.
And then when Sean got ready to talk, I thought, better yet, I better tell him we're live because God only knows what will happen. So,
It'll come out of his mouth.
Sean, you want to introduce us?
Are we really live?
Yeah, we're really live.
Thank you, Yankee.
Brandon, thanks for being Brandon, thanks for being on.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody.
We are
Elite Paranormal Society. I'm Sean. This is
I'm Janie.
yeah, she's my wife, and this is Rob. He's coming in the thing here. There he is.
And now,
There's Rob.
every once in a while, you got to put somebody on the spot. Sean is our camera guy. He's usually behind the camera. So I said, "Do you want to introduce us?" And he was like, "Yeah, no." So I said, "Okay, good. You're going to introduce us." So we'll kind of do a little change up on you.
Do tricks is what it is. Tricks.
The conversations that happen before any of our shows are priceless. So I got
Great
Sean
blooper
tonight.
wheels.
It's fine, but you're good about how you talk as far as when we're getting
Yeah.
to that time.
Yeah.
Sean, on the other hand,
No.
no. Danny has no filter when it comes to talking. Sean has no filter when it comes to everything else.
He says
Not
the
good.
most inappropriate things at the
I
most
hope you remember this the next
times.
time I am behind the camera. I mean, let us know when we go live. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you know it's going to be Janie going to town, so I had to throw it up there. It's a little change up. Hey, guys, welcome to tonight's show. This is casual, obviously, as you can see. We want to demonstrate and talk about cleansing.
Yep.
It's a real big deal out there. We've helped out, God knows we've helped out numerous
I don't
families.
think we could count now unless you go back and look at emails.
Ultimately, the point that we want to make is, number one, this method is not the only method as far as for treating locations. We sincerely believe that all locations can be treated. I do. How do you feel?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be with you doing it if I didn't.
Well, we've been in locations where you were like, honestly, you're like, Rob, I don't know about this.
Yeah,
It's
I
going to
didn't-
happen because it was some old
Right.
stuff.
Right. But
I
it
mean,
worked.
In all sincerity.
Right. And it worked.
We've been working together for a while now. It's been several years, so it took some time to...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When we first started doing this, I was like, okay, you don't see what's in there. I do. I don't think you're going to get rid of this so easily. But then you do it, and we get feedback from the client that say, everything feels fine. Our house feels like our home. None of us are afraid anymore. And I'm still thinking in the back of my head at that point, I'm afraid for you. I
Right.
know what's
Right.
there. And I would have never guessed that it would have stayed gone. I used to even tell you, didn't I? I hope he knows that stuff will come back. And we've never had a client that we did this for, that you did this for, that called us and said, hey, it's came back. Unless
Correct. Those three.
they invite it back.
Yep. And that's some of the things. With cleansing, it's not just doing the cleansing. There's a little bit of thought beforehand, and there's certainly thought or practices afterwards that are
Yep.
extremely important. This is going to be interactive. So if you have questions, you got comments you want to throw up there, or you got your opinions are welcome as long as you're respectful to anybody, obviously here or anybody else that's on the page. Just be cool about it. Our team is absolutely about integrity. We roll up our sleeves, show you
Yeah.
what's there. We tell you exactly what we use. I will tell you exactly what prayer, anything that we do. I do most of the cleansing. Janie has now started working with me on that, and I've also started working with some other people. The whole point is to try to get this method out there. If it's worked, we work with people over the phone that
Yeah.
are on the other side of the country. We've walked them through. I've done video chats, and where I can watch them doing it. I can even say it as they go along. So it's the next best thing to being there with them.
Right.
So I can walk them through the process, and they're perfectly fine.
Yep.
So hang out just for a minute or two. I'm going to pick on Sean a little bit when I get behind the camera.
Wait a minute, I thought I was going behind the camera.
Do you want to go behind the camera?
You know what's going to be funny? We go up there looking, this thing ain't even live no more.
It might not be. We'll find out. We have nobody behind the camera that I can see. I don't know about Janie. She
No,
can
there's
see.
nobody there. I wouldn't be sitting here. Be like, Rob, here.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to move down to
Yep.
this end?
All right. We still live?
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah, hopefully.
There's something wrong here.
He's
Yeah,
fibbing.
no, I see the look on his face
Yeah,
now.
he cannot do a straight face when he's telling a fib.
Mark Richards says hello, Rob.
Mark, thanks for being on. Appreciate it, buddy.
Sandy Hickey's on.
Hi, Sandy.
Sandy.
Boy, there's a bunch of them. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, it's jumping. It's really cool. Guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us.
Goodness, yes.
With cleansing, the first start, whether it's your own home or you're doing it for a client, it's again, we want to kind of walk through this process. You really need to have the right expectation. You really need to have the right expectation for this, and that is it's going to work. And if you're a client, boy, it's so hard because you're already at your wits' end. You're scared.
Exactly. It's the faith thing. You have to have faith and confidence enough in what you're doing and in a higher power to know that this is going to work if I take it seriously. You can't go at it like it's a game. It's not.
When we do it, mine is Christian-based. It doesn't matter what the religion is for the family that's there. As long as they don't have a problem with me doing what I'm doing, this has been extremely effective. We've done it Muslims, obviously Catholic, Christian, Jewish, anybody. We've been through so many different religious paths, and it's worked very, very well. I've been able to go ahead, fortunately, even work with people that are from the Wicca, where they would turn around and they had students actually watching, which was, we'll talk about that when we get to one of the bedrooms or something, because had a really good activity happen with them, and they stayed in there. They didn't run. I was surprised. So with that thought, like I said, first and foremost is, hey, you got to know it's going to work. Have it in your mind it's going to work. And we're not looking for it to work for a day or two. We want this to be the end of all. We don't want to play with it no more.
That's right. Done.
Treating a location of the energy is one thing, but you're also treating the human mind, which is extremely difficult.
Yep.
And that's why case by case is really what makes the difference, because you really have to work with the client and be trying to get the client to calm down, because our imaginations are our worst enemy.
Exactly. And you need them to have the faith and the belief that this is going to work. You know what I mean?
You have to take steps,
Yes, they have to get
that.
calm enough to be able to trust what you're doing is going to work.
Before you start, another big part, now if you might do it by yourself, if you're on a team and doing it, you have to understand some of the things that you're going to deal with are extremely intelligent. And there's a game plan you have to put together. If we were going through this process and Janie's with me, I've got Sean behind the camera, we know after doing this for so long, it's going to attack Janie. It's going to go after Janie if it's really bad. It's going to try to go ahead, because if it attacks her and I stop, gives it a break.
Yep.
So you got to know the stuff. Now we know if something happens, I can say, Sean will come grab Janie, get her out
That
of
way
the house.
it does not have to disrupt his prayer or his cleansing, because that's what it's trying to do. Make disruptions to stop you from what you're doing. Yeah.
It will do it with a client as well.
Mm-hmm.
We've had clients that are like, I don't believe in this. It's only my spouse.
Yeah.
It's been women and men. And they'll be like, no, my spouse believes in this. I know something's crazy happening, but I don't believe in it.
Right.
Can't explain it. Just don't believe in it.
Yeah. He or she's seeing stuff and hearing stuff, but I've thought I've seen things before, but that really wasn't anything, and then here we are.
Typically, they're the ones that have any attacks in the middle of this happening. And when you get ready to cleanse, what is there is not looking to leave. It doesn't want to leave. It's not leaving of its own accord. So that's why we want to push it out. Now, you can cleanse like once a month sometimes. Some people cleanse like every 3 months. And that's just, to go ahead. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you don't have birds in there offhand. They have a very, so you got to be careful
and
about
some
it.
dogs will have an allergic reaction to the sage.
Yeah. And there is a spray sage, so you can control it a lot better.
Yeah.
The sage itself, white sage, we're using bundles of white sage. Now we have some
We have quite a few bundles.
We now have the big ones.
So we've got quite a few bundles.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheila.
Very much, Miss Shay.
We're using the sage, though, and you want to have something to catch the embers in. We're also not just using the sage itself. This is a cleansing. So I'm using holy water as well. I have prayer. I'm usually pretty much carrying a little bit of everything. My crucifix.
Usually his hands and mine are full as we go through.
So having a second person really, really helps out. And again, as we're walking through, and I keep saying, I refer to Harry Potter because everybody wants to just go through with the sage and go, woo, woo, and we're done.
Yeah.
You're going to see the difference.
Oh, big time.
Hopefully.
I'm really glad my bedroom door is closed tonight.
I've kind of put off doing anything right now because and you can't tell because I'm talking so damn much now. but I am really short of breath, and I've been dealing with some issues. So we really have postponed doing this. We haven't even worked with the locations right now for like almost 2 months.
He just got over the coughing fits like what, a week ago.
I'm not saying it's going to go away because I can feel it now. So white sage bundles. For anybody that says, well, you got, and again, this year I'm sticking a knife in so many things. I really don't care. I hate hearing the wrong information being put out there. Again, you'll hear people say, well, you can't buy sage. It has to be given to you to be able to do cleansing. Let me just tell you.
Gave it to me for money.
And they were happy to collecting the
Yes,
money, so they were happy.
Believe me, you can buy it on any website you want.
You can
as much of it as you want.
Okay, we buy it by the cases through Amazon. It works out really, really well.
You can buy it locally here at a lot of the shops.
And if you have a local shop where you can buy it, man, buy local.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep, absolutely.
But white sage bundles, you're going to need a few of them. You're not going to just need one. If you do it all in one, you haven't saged, quite honestly.
You've just saged maybe one floor.
It's quite a bit. Any questions coming up so far?
No, just Jeremy said hi, guys.
Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
Thanks for being on. Any other shout-outs real quick?
Let me go
I know
back.
you got this tiny little frame to work on.
Okay, Sheila's finally on. Sandy Hickey's here.
Yeah, we knew those two. Hi, ladies.
Sheila, how many more deliveries are we getting, for God's sakes? I just got another box of candy and stuff.
He comes in the dining room like, you know who
Michelle
this is from? I was like,
Williams.
no.
Caitlin's on.
Hi,
Michelle's
Katie.
Katie,
Amber
Michelle.
McCart.
Hi,
Up
Amber.
here.
Adrian's on.
Who?
Was it Adrian? Who was on?
Caitlin.
No, who was after? Who was the last
Amber
one?
McCart.
Michelle.
Amber.
Amber McCart.
Cool. Cool. Excellent.
Linda Bird.
Linda. So, again, we're not saying this is the only way. It's the way this worked really well for us. And again, when you do it on the backside of it, you're not leaving the client. If you're doing it for a client, you're not going to leave them. As far as once you leave out of there,
Right.
do not just not talk to them anymore.
No.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I
It
know.
happens all the time.
They're sitting there waiting like, do they call us back or we just wait to see if something else happens?
Mark Richards said how to get rid of a pig-faced ghost.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to be working with you on, Mark. And actually, this will work to get rid of pretty much anything. No, you can't shoot the pig face.
If my
Sorry.
husband were to see it, there would be holes all over the house.
When you're dealing with stuff, including something that shows itself in an inhuman form or anything like that, a lot of that is scare tactics. And again, it's the mind. Our mind, we see something, we go, oh my God, if it looks like it's 8 foot tall. But remember, there used to be cartoons that had like this little moose that had the big rack that was really tiny.
Yep.
And his shadow would make him look huge.
Huge. Yep. But he was a little thing.
Our minds are doing the same thing. We're thinking this thing is, oh my gosh. So slow down a little bit. Biggest thing you have to do is catch control of yourself. If you have kids in your house,
Bonnie said hello.
hey
Hi,
Bonnie,
Bonnie.
if you have kids, children in your house, they're going to be affected by your reaction as well.
Oh, absolutely. Kids play off their parents' reaction. It's like if they fall, if you know as a parent that it's just a little scrape, no big deal, and you don't freak out, they won't either. They'll dust it off and keep on playing. But the minute you go, oh my God, now it's an issue.
Yep.
My leg's falling off. Take me to hospital and everything else.
So again, the imagination, we want to bring that down.
Yeah.
We don't want to make the client feel like, and the client wants to know, are you coming here just to piss it off? Or is it going to just get mad?
Right. Is this just going to make it mad and then you won't help us anymore if it comes back? And he's like, no, we're not coming to piss anything off. We're just going to get rid of it for you.
He's not going to be happy we're there. And what you look at in all sincerity is if we're coming out or you're getting ready to do it, watch for the activity to actually level up a little bit. Because what it wants to do is it wants to intimidate you. It wants to go, hey, don't do this.
Yeah, we've experienced things even before we went to locations.
Yes. Because
And
they
then it
knew we were
relates to
coming.
location.
Why would it waste its energy trying to scare you? And for the people to go, hey, look, don't show fear, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You can't just turn fear off. Sorry.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
If the fear is inside of you, they know it.
Yep.
Agree?
Yep. No matter how much you're trying to hide it from everybody else in the room, trust me, they know it.
We have plenty of people that have have the Superman mentality, like nothing's going to bother them.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, some people get picked on more. Unfortunately for you, to me, it's humorous as hell. Sorry, but it is kind of funny. Not that she gets picked on, but we do get the act. Okay, I know it is. You're right.
Even Sean shaking his head
is.
like.
When you see this person, in all these unnatural ways, it's kind of pretty wild. We're in the field to have fun, right?
Jesus, take the wheel. Oh,
For those who are actually doing the saging, this is going to be one of your best friends.
one of your very best friends.
Very simple looking, but a regular oven mitt that is just cloth.
It will burn right through it.
Can you?
And I'm not
can you
talking
reach over
about
there?
the
Pass
the
that
embers.
one
I'm
too.
talking about the bowl
Yeah, the
will burn
abalone
right through
Abalone
it.
shell, yeah.
That's how
Just
much
bring it around
sage
if you
we
would.
burn in that bowl and how hot it gets when we do a cleanse. Or when Rob does a cleanse.
And for the most part, if I'm using a shell, I'm usually actually and even the bowl, I'm usually kind of holding it like this because I'm going to be blowing the end of it, trying to get the embers to really crank out a lot of smoke. We're looking to really smoke up a place, make Cheech and Chong very, very happy, make them want to join you. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But what happens, it will burn hot enough to actually burn through the
Straight
shell.
through.
Which is
And that's
amazing.
not by holding the embers of the sage on the bowl. That's by
Being close.
just being close
Yeah.
enough for the heat. That's how much heat it puts out. And when you're going through 4 or 5 of these a cleanse, that bowl gets so hot sometimes that thing would glow.
Yeah, it's be friendly to your hand. Have something handy. Word of warning: if you have birds in particular, you definitely want to move them to a different location. You don't want them; they have a more sensitive respiratory tract, so it can deal with those. Don't come across too often, but like you said, dogs could
Yeah.
be sensitive to it, but
With,
not often.
with our dogs, it does not bother Freckles, but Ladybird will start the sneezing and it will go all night long until the smell is out of the house.
Yeah.
Samantha's on.
Hi, Samantha. Same time. Jinx.
Go, you talk then. Go ahead.
No,
Wanna
we
play
both
this
of us
Jinx
said
game?
hi,
I know.
Samantha. At the
Jinx
same
means you
time. I was
can't
like,
talk, so I
Jinx.
can't talk. Go ahead. Carry on.
You've
I
got to
want you
tell
to
them how to
explain
do
everything.
this.
Sandy said, have you ever had a time where your cleansing didn't work for long, so you had to go back?
No. I have had one that was I'll take that back. I do have one because I was treating for a negative energy and it was actually a human energy, in all sincerity, and I had to go and change my tactics back. At the same time, you also don't know what the clients are doing, and that's the big deal what we're talking about on the backside. When I'm dealing with clients, I'm like, look, whoever's the homeowners, don't mess with the paranormal. Don't be going around with your recorder after I leave or even 2 months later with
That's an invite.
Correct. Don't ask questions in your own home because, again, you're asking somebody to talk to you. You're inviting them.
And the scary part about that is you're not guaranteed that you're inviting the same one back.
Correct. So we don't know exactly what the clients do once we leave.
Exactly.
We have had one like that, and we've had 3 where, like, one person was like, well, it was all quiet for several months, so we decided to go ahead and get a recorder out and ask questions, and somebody answered us, and then they freak out. Nothing bad happened. I'm not going back. You go back?
No, absolutely not.
This is free. We do this for free.
It's either April or Chad. I can't tell which.
April, Chad, whichever y'all are.
Hi, both of you.
They're both in the picture, so.
Oh, good enough. We'll say hi to both of them.
It's a small screen, so Sean
I
can
know.
only see the pictures.
We're utilizing my phone right now just so we can be mobile. The phone is actually set up on a rig, so on a tripod. We're going to leave from here. We're actually going to go upstairs. We're going to give you a rundown physically as we go through it to demonstrate, where you'd start in a house. In a regular single-family house, speaking of, you're either going to start at the top or you're going to start at the bottom, and then you have to have an exit point. You're not opening every damn window. Stop with that
She said
nonsense.
it's April.
Hi,
Wavy
April. You got to know what your exit point's going to be, and you need to know what direction that you're actually going to be doing the saging. And we're going to cover that more. If you're in a trailer, you'd work from one end to the other. Apartment, same idea. You're going to be working one end to the other, ideally like from your front door, and push it out. Usually there's a bedroom at the end. You'd usually push it out a bedroom window. If that makes sense. Just a quick rundown. What we're going to do, again, we're going to go upstairs. If we were to sage, we'd go into the farthest part of that room itself. I keep looking at the IR camera, forgetting that we're actually using the phone. I'm so used to our
So if it looks like
investigations.
Rob's looking up in the corner, that's why.
I'm going to start coughing. You'd work at the back of the room, again, going back and forth, not the counterclockwise and clockwise. Does that make sense? That if you go counterclockwise or clockwise around the exterior of your room, Aren't you trapping it in?
Yeah, you're going in a circle. You're keeping it right in the center of the
So
room.
again, this is, and that was, I've heard that when I first started. That's what I thought. Hey, you go counterclockwise for negative and clockwise for positive. The hell?
If you're trying to get a critter out of your bathroom,
Wouldn't you
because this has
go
happened to
clockwise
me.
in Australia and counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere?
Whether or not you're above,
We're not
below
going to
the
get on
equator,
that.
stop. So again, we're going to go ahead. We're going to start on the back of the room. We're going to start building a wall. We want to work low. Obviously, the smoke is rising. If you're putting out enough smoke, it's going to rise up no matter what. But we want to make sure that we're basically pushing the sage smoke anywhere. Think of where like a 3 or 4 year old child could actually fit up and hide in, and that means cabinetry. As far as up under a cabinet,
You've put this stuff in places where a 3 or 4 year old child couldn't do it.
I want to make sure it's gone. Very, very important. Any attic or basement.
Yep.
If you decide, I don't want to get up, the attic's creepy, dusty, dirty, whatever, I don't want to do it, that's on you, boo-boo. But if it doesn't work, that's on you.
Yeah. You start experiencing it again, it's in your attic.
It's like, and it's no offense, I love the clergy by far, I'm not knocking the clergy, but what happens so often, there's a lot of reports, and sometimes it works perfectly fine, and when it doesn't, if the clergy comes in and blesses your home, we're thinking, okay, this should work perfect. And it doesn't always work. It's no different than doing cleansings. It doesn't always work, but there's a good reason why a lot of them don't work. We've had people turn around and they shut all the doors. They've had the activity in their bedroom. They do their bedroom. Next thing they know is the couple is sitting on the bed, or kind of like an island on top of the bed, and the bed starts shaking and everything. Well, what's in it is basically like trying to hold his breath going,
Yeah.
get me out of here.
But speaking of clergy, we had a minister come in up where I used to live, remember when we did that one out? And I'm on the phone with him, and he's supposed to be there blessing the house and going through prayers and everything. And sometimes just because they have that title doesn't necessarily mean they have that faith. Because this man was on the phone with me, and he was so afraid. He was asking me as a medium, can you please tell me if it's standing behind me? Because I can feel it. And I'm like, you need to call Rob.
We've worked with
But
some
then you went and cleansed the house. They sold it again.
perfectly fine.
Nobody's had any problems.
We've had clergy who have gone to our locations. They've been called prior to, or they were supposed to show up basically same time, get sick, something would happen to them. Look, people are human. I don't care if they're in the clergy or they're not in the clergy. They mean well. Some of them have never dealt with evil. And when I talk evil, it's so unbelievable when you see some of the things that we see. I mean, if my eyes had no white and were straight black, and then I start talking in a different voice, I guarantee a few of you guys are going to be, how fast can I get off this?
I think some of them also, because I've ran across a couple like this, they believe that there's evil, but they do not believe that there's any way it can manifest itself.
Correct.
It's kind of like that whole, I believe that Jesus rose after death, but I don't believe there's any such thing as spirit or ghost. What do you think he was then?
So again, there's a vast array. We're going to get ready here in just a minute or two. We're going to go ahead and get ready to move on up here, but we do want to answer your questions as we go through. Again, this subject it's pretty deep. There's a lot to it. I'm not just going to go ahead and rush through it and just blow it off. I want you guys to know anybody that wants and is willing to learn, and will work with you that much more. But we have been able to reach out to so many families across the United States. Hell, we've even done other countries.
Yep.
And typically I would send out a care package. It would have holy water. It would have the sage. And depending on what else they are dealing with, whether I use blessed necklaces, like the one behind you. Can you grab that one off?
This one?
Yeah. Wild Bill is on here from time to time. He's actually Reverend Wild Bill. I've had him bless them. I do the blessings. But I'll do medallions. And again, I don't care what faith you're with. It's a St. Benedict's medallion, but I do a blessing on it. And when people are having issues themselves, their kids are being terrified or having issues, I have smaller ones, and they wear them. And I think I've only had 1 or 2 people. And again, you got to judge the people because you don't know which one, who might have a drug issue or
And the ones
else.
that take them off and just tell you they wore them.
But the number of people that we have sent out, I don't even know how many at this point, crazy amounts.
Sent out and give out.
Oh, yeah, they're
On
all given.
location.
Everything's given.
Even on location, though, you've given them to client after we've left.
And they've worked extremely well as far as helping them. So there's different steps you can take by far. again, with the clients, you have to think about in your mind, or even if it's your house and you're going to go ahead and sage and you have your family there, you have to kind of, again, play it out. If I have some clients that are very nervous, when I get ready to start the sage, and again, let's say I'm working from the top, if I'm going to work from the top and I go into the first room, I can take that family with me. I can go ahead and sage and cleanse that room and push whatever out of there, and now that becomes a safe area. Nothing's going to mess with them. If I leave one of them out, more than likely they're going to get plucked with.
Yep.
We see it all the time.
And it's like a sweep.
Yes.
You sweep from one side of the room to the other as you push towards the opening that you're
Yep.
going to go out of.
Yep.
That way the area behind you is clean.
Yep.
So that if the family feels safer there, that's great. Sometimes you've even let family follow along just so
Yep.
they can see for themselves you're getting into every room, every crack.
Again, we're looking for, you have to kind of ration out who's nervous, who's not. If they're
Yep.
not, they're less likely to be picked on as much by far. Pretty much anybody can still be picked on.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen some of the biggest guys go down.
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
quick.
Go down and go running pretty quick. But again, when you do it that way, when you allow the family to be part of it, it gives them that that courage to be
Yes.
like, this is my
Yes.
house. He's right. This is my house. You know what I mean?
Which
And
is what
that
we want.
helps.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
a desired effect by far.
Absolutely.
You know, but having your mind that something could pop up, but the reason why that's going to happen, when I'm saying pop up, all of a sudden a client or somebody in your house is going, oh my gosh, oh, it hurts, it burns, or whatever.
Right.
It's just a tactic. They were perfectly fine before, they'll be fine after. Is that you just saying?
That was me. I cleared my throat.
Okay.
I was going to say it wasn't me.
They'll be fine after. But the ideal thing is the negativity. Let's go to the demonic, okay? Everybody wants to freak out about the demons. If the demon is in a location, it can influence outside that location, but it is still physically in that location, for the better way of saying it. And then you take the exact structure, the outline of the structure. If it's a apartment building, you got to look at the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a townhome or a duplex, you got to watch both sides, because then you could push to one side. Now, that's part of the reason why I'm using holy water as boundaries, making a boundary. What I'm doing is we go in, I start with a prayer. I always do the Lord's Prayer. I turn around and then set my intentions. Heavenly Father, I ask that you remove any negative energies from this location, blah, blah, blah. And then once I go ahead and start with the white sage, as we go through, I'm going to go ahead and start placing the sign of the cross on the windows. And it's not every individual window. It's each window unit. I'll go ahead and place the sign of the cross, claim it as God's territory, say so no evil or negative energies are allowed to enter this location. What I'm doing is I'm creating a barrier. I'm going to do that also to any mirror, any door, closet door, door frame, and then when we go into like the sink, any entry exit point, I'm placing the sign of the cross and saying that. So the idea is once I'm done, we've pushed it with the smoke. Now I put a barrier up because I don't want them coming back after the smoke's gone. And now we're going to keep pushing.
Yep.
It's up to you as we go through the house. If you want to shut the door behind you after you do it, and I'm usually on both sides placing the sign of the cross. That's up to you.
And there have even been times when you've cleansed a location, pushed it out, and just to be absolutely sure, because there were kids there, you went around the outside of the house and buried the metals. Yeah.
In extreme cases.
And salt.
In extreme cases, we have absolutely, and again, it's knowing. This is more.
It's knowing what
general.
what and how much of you have to use on each location, and you can only know that by being there, talking to the client, finding out what they've experienced, and then use that with everything you've experienced, what you know to be good or bad.
Correct.
And be able to treat it in however way you see fit. But so far, it's worked.
It's worked.
It has
phenomenally.
worked.
So people go, oh, you can't get rid of anything in a couple of hours. You know, we've been dealing with this for years and whatever. And we had the farmer's wife where he went down because he brought something that stabbed him with a screwdriver. And when I said, that's all right, when it came to the house, I said, that's all right. You know, she was freezing. And I said, that's all right. We'll take care of everything and make it more comfortable. And she's like, yeah, right. We've been dealing with it for 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then afterwards, she's got her sweater unbuttoned. I said, a little warm in here. She's like, oh my God, I'm
comfortable in my kitchen for the first time.
So The
If
difference
our
can-
kitchen ever gets warm, you are definitely doing a cleansing. It's always cold in that
Well,
puppy.
we did one. I did it on the outside here,
Yeah.
an area that you didn't like. I mean, it's been. Have you had an issue since? in
No,
that
I
area?
don't go over there though. I haven't had no issues. I mean, before I could even have the issue before I got to that side of the yard.
Yes.
But I don't go to that side of the yard because I'm afraid if I look over that side of the fence, I'm going to pop right up in front of them. They knew.
We can't see it, Sean, myself, for the most part. We
Oh,
don't
I
see
wish they
things.
could.
And even seeing the pictures that we have doesn't do it justice because it's a picture to us. So in our mind, we're not freaking out, whereas you see it live as a live critter.
Sean, have
coming
you
up on
ever seen me go near that fence over there on that side of the yard?
Any other shout outs, any other questions before we get ready to get started?
Sheila said you did. Hell, I lost it.
Oh, Lord.
I did Sheila's house.
You did all that for me, and we worked together. But you didn't send me a large bottle of wine and horse tranquilizers for after.
Sweetheart, you had, well, no, you did go through a lot of your wine during that period.
We've got a few bottles in there. Sheila, I tell you what, I got 3 bottles you can have if you come visit.
Mark was actually at a house. Is Mark Richardson still on?
I haven't seen
He was
anything.
actually at a house where he was physically thrown downstairs
still
and
is.
actually went into the drywall and broke. I think he broke his hand.
Well, I can tell you right now, that night we were at the temple, if there hadn't have been somebody behind me when we were going up those steps, I honestly believe I would have lost my footing and went backwards.
So there are things that can happen.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Again, plan out that somebody can be, but don't lose your concentration and have a game plan. Game
Right.
plan is everything.
Yeah, you got to know what you're going to do before you get there.
Know your materials, what you want to have, and then plan out in your mind, okay, which way are you going to do this? Where are you going to push this out? From the jump, you do not have to open the door right from the jump, or door, window, whatever you want, and you only need 4 or 6 inches. You don't have to have it so it feels like the Arctic down wherever you're going to go ahead and let them out of. In this case, we're going to do part of it. We're not going to do the entire house. We're going to do parts of the house so you can see it, and then when we come back down through here, we're going to use the doorway as the exit point, which I'll explain again.
Right.
But you can do like the top floor, work your way down to the bottom floor or to the basement door, make sure the basement door is open, work everything around. So now it's in the basement. Then you need to make sure that basement door is open because you need to let it give it a way out.
Yeah, that's where I come in usually. I go a few feet in front of him and make sure things are open and set the way he needs them to be set before he gets there. That way there's no delay. You don't have to worry about anything trying to go in somewhere else before you get all the way there.
It's not uncommon for people to feel it. Now, what happens is if somebody does have a problem, especially if you have the holy water, I always place the sign of the cross. I explain to clients before I do it. I said, look, if something goes bad, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to use the holy water. And I consider it to also be the shed blood of Jesus Christ. So I'll sprinkle it on the person. Not only place it, I sprinkle it on, I'm saying something, and then ask for the protection. Sometimes people will say that it's burning. They'll feel like it's burning. Their skin's not changing color. It's not hurting them. It's burning what's affecting them because they have a empathic connection to that energy. So it's actually hurting it, not the
Yeah, because
client.
we've actually had people say, what do you have in that water? Because that burns.
I've drank it before just to
And
show
it's
people
just
it's
blessed
fine.
water.
It's fine. So keep that in the back of your head.
Yeah.
When I go up, when we get ready to start in the first area, I am actually going to do the prayer that I use. You're going to hear me do everything. Again, it's just getting the information out there. If you want to do it a different way, do it a different way. And if you have questions, please ask because we really want to keep this interactive and help you out. Sean is actually looking on the back of my phone, which the print is really, really small, so he's doing his best as far as to be able to answer anybody. You guys ready?
Ready when you are.
Okay. You'll trade these.
We're going to get a little bit of the Blair Witch Project effect here. Because
Sean's the cameraman.
I'm carrying the camera, so...
So we are going to move, so you're going to see us move, so just bear with us. If you want to go ahead and grab a drink or hit the bathroom real quick, go for it. We'll be getting started in a moment.
Yeah, because it'll take us a minute to get up the steps. I'm old.
So bad.
Sean, you can go over to the right corner.
So There's parts of our new house. We're still in the process of painting and everything else. but
Remodeling and everything else.
A little bit of everything going on. So there's quite a bit. So just bear with us for a sec. Our attic is here.
And I don't go up there.
So you would actually, like in our house, we would start with the attic. We'd go all the way to the farthest point in the attic, and this is where we'd actually start. So bear that in mind. When I do the prayer, I do it on each level. Each floor I'm doing a prayer on. But just to give you an idea, we would have started up there, done all the attic. You really need to watch your embers because you've got all the insulation, different dry stuff up there. You want to be very careful with it. Push everywhere in the attic. Make sure it's plenty. You leave it open as you do it. I'm just closing it to get it out of our way.
If you got one of them older houses with them little doors on the edge of the attic, you got to make sure you open them up and go in there, no matter how freaky they are.
Sean would love to do that for you. He doesn't have a problem with doing this. We're going to start here. I'm just going to make it a little bit easier. Grab me that step.
Gotcha.
We'll use it as a table for a second.
I'm going to sit back for this part.
You're fine. Even before I start the sage, I want to set my intentions. If there's any family spirits, good spirits, does the sage hurt them? It drains a little bit, but they know what we're doing. You got to know this ahead of time. We're not looking to harm anybody that's,
And you have to remember that whether you believe it or not, the good spirit that are around want those bad ones gone.
Yes. Ask you this question. It's pretty simple. Can bad spirits, evil, can they hold human energies, human spirits?
You mean
They hold them at a location.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely they can. They can keep them. And how many times have we been on an investigation and I say, Rob, this lady just wants to leave, but there's something here that won't let her go. They can.
We've run into that a lot.
Absolutely.
So, quit worrying about if you do it perfect. Reading, hey, if you stumble through it, it doesn't matter. It's really the thought process that's doing it.
Yeah.
Clients and people settle down when they're seeing us use physical sage and whatnot.
Yeah.
For those that are Catholic or Christian, and they're kind of on the fence about things, what was given by the three wise men?
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay. You got to start wondering, why was that given to them? What did they use it for back then?
Right.
So, different ingredients definitely had certain powers and abilities to it. So I definitely believe in it. But again, it's the thought process. It's really up here is where most of it's done at, and why we tend to be lucky enough to have it so effective.
Yeah.
I'm going to start out with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever and ever. Heavenly Father, we're asking for you to go ahead and ensure that all evil influences, anything negative that resides in this house, is no longer allowed to be here. Banish it from this location from this day forth. Amen.
Amen.
So I start off, that's just the way, again, this is the way I do it. You have to find what works for you. If you want to do it this way, I'll give you everything I use.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. That's why I post it. I've got people who are of different religions that actually use this, and they still carry on with their religion, but they just do this.
Right, because this tends to work.
So I'm not knocking it. Spirit over God, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, the Most Holy Trinity, the Immaculate Virgin Mary, angels, archangels, and the saints of heaven, descend upon this place. Please purify this house, Lord. Mold it, fill it with yourself. Banish all the forces of evil from this house. Destroy them, vanquish them, so that this house can provide a healthy sanctuary to those that reside here. Banish from this structure all spells, witchcraft, black magic, malefests, ties, maledictions, and the evil eye, diabolical infestations, oppressions, possessions, all that is evil and sinful, jealousy, perfidy, envy, physical, psychological, moral, spiritual, diabolical ailments. Burn all these evils in hell that they may never again touch any of the residents or guests of this house or any other creature in the entire world. I command and bid all the powers who molest this location by the power of God, all-powerful, in the name of Jesus Christ our Savior, through the intercession of the Immaculate Virgin Mary, to leave here forever and be consigned into the everlasting hell, where they will be bound by Saint Michael the Archangel, Saint Gabriel, Saint Raphael, our guardian angels, and where they will be crushed under the heel of the Immaculate Virgin Mary. Amen.
Amen.
And now it begins. Any questions before we start?
Gina's on.
Gina's on?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi,
Gina. So we got some awesome friends that, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, because I'll be the first one to trip over that. Going out the door.
Once it starts getting a little bit warm, I'll throw this
Freddie,
back.
Freddie's on.
Freddie.
Hey, Freddie. Freddie, I already got a request from your hacker and I turned it down.
Yeah, just note, if anybody gets some weird comments from Freddie, it's not him, he's been hacked.
Yeah, I got a
This
message
time.
on Messenger and I had already read Freddie's post, so I just deleted it immediately. I didn't even open it.
Deborah Nickel.
Hi,
Deborah,
Deborah.
having a good lighter is...
Key. You mean torch. That's a torch.
I just blew it out.
That is a torch, Bubba.
It's great.
I smell it already.
Smoke alarms. If you have any...
We do have them, guys, but they removed them just before we started so that they're not going crazy.
Right up there, you can see the one out in the hallway there that's missing right above the star. So.
absolutely want to move or disconnect them, or contact if you're the type that's set up with a alarm system.
Right.
You need to contact the alarm system before you do this, or before somebody comes to do this, because if you do not, I promise you, if they're doing staging correctly, they will be setting off everyone that you have in your house. We do, and when it's late in the
Yes.
evening, it will scare the absolute out of you.
Yes.
We're
Especially
slightly
when it's
scared.
dark.
All right, we're going to switch. I'm going to start to the back here, if you would. So just bear with us, and we're going to have some motion sickness. Move around.
Woo! Stop.
Behave with that.
I'm going to stand over this way because I would normally go in front of you and open things up, but since there's nothing to open in this room, you're just going side to side to do your sweep. I don't
So
know
if we
you
were
right.
using the back wall, exactly what you're saying. If we were using the back wall, we'd start in the very back. We got the doorway, go to the hallway, go a little bit farther out, Sean. So we know the smoke's rising, but what happens below where nobody actually usually gets? So
Yeah, we're usually on our knees or crawling around more than we're standing up for this.
like I said, for the windows, it's an exit point. So I'm going to place, using the holy water, I'll place the sign of the cross, claim this is God's territory, so nothing evil or malicious allowed to enter this location from this day forth. I don't know how long my breath is going to hold out.
And notice he's going back and forth from one side of the room to the other and pushing it towards the doorway. That way you're not blocking it in any corner. Everything's being covered with smoke from side to side, top to bottom, all the way to the doorway. I'm going to step out just out of frame.
She's just trying not to inhale all of it to start with.
I don't want to start coughing.
We're not really in a rush. We're trying to get this so that it is definitely going ahead and covering through here. So you don't feel like you have to rush.
Rob's just trying to get through it and give you the gist of it before his breath gives out and he starts coughing.
April said you need knee pads.
Yes, he does, April. There are some locations we go on where the floors are hardwood and it's
Yes.
rough.
Oh, I don't want to hear that comment. I hear you laughing already. Don't give me a
Sean, don't start.
back of doors.
Yeah, that's a big one that a lot of people don't even think of. Make sure you're behind the doors.
anything evil or malicious, you're not allowed to remain in this location.
April said, I knew where that would go, LOL.
April, be good. Don't get these two started, please. Not during the live. You can come and hang out with us if you want.
Absolutely, I love that. That'd be great. You're going to work your way to the door itself. Now, if I was to close the attic, I would also be sealing this too. Anytime.
With the holy water.
Do it just anyway, just so you make sure you do it. It's an entry-exit point, so again, do the same thing. Place sign on the cross, claim this is God's territory, so nothing evil and malicious.
And this would be after he had already been up there and saged the entire attic.
April, you were just a wealth of jokes this evening. I gotta tell you what. She said, sorry, Janie, it's hard.
It's okay, darling.
Let's not go there. Right?
I understand.
That's all right,
I do.
go ahead. We're going to do a live one on my page. We'll make sure you're on for that. April is a nurse, so for all you nurses out there, doctors, anybody that's been helping everybody else, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Kudos.
So once the room is done,
You cough for a minute.
I place the sign of the cross and claim this is God's territory, so nothing evil or malicious.
Can someone else blow on the sage for Rob?
Do you need a halls? Got them right there.
Anyway, we're not doing the entire house because I can't make it. So even the closets. We go in the closet, we blow, starting at the bottom, work our way up. Once we're done with that, we would do the same thing. We take the holy water, place the sign of the cross, claim it as God's territory. Again, do what works for you.
Right. And it doesn't matter if the sage is lit for this or not. He's giving you the gist of it. You can pretend the sage is lit. He's showing you how we do it.
When you get, this is a harder area. We've got a doorway, we've got a hallway that breaks to the left.
Door there.
With a door over there. And then there's one that comes over, the hallway continues back over this way.
April said wrong, smoke.
April is on it tonight.
She's got it going. So what we would do these rooms. We're not trying to do the hallway because eventually I have to jump over there. This is a more difficult situation. I'd have to jump over there, and if I put too much smoke in the hall, then I'm trapping it over there. I can open a window in there and push it out that way too. That's another possibility. But then I'd go farther in this point and then work my way back so I'm not leaving a lot of it in the hallway.
Chris T said if the sage is affecting you, you might be the problem.
I ain't saying I'm not. Can I get the lighter for me?
Absolutely.
The bedrooms are a big deal. Basically, everybody needs to have a sanctuary. The bedroom should be your sanctuary, kids, adults alike. When you're dealing with negative energies, usually it's trying to interrupt your sleep patterns. I guarantee you a few of you guys have already experienced that before and know exactly what I'm talking about. Humans don't sleep, we don't do very well. So not only are you going to do the area in the room itself, think about under the bed, other voids. That's going to be a big deal. So after you get done, anytime you need to put some more heat on it, more flame on it, do it. You need it to really be smoking it up well. Can they get an idea of the smoke? I prefer not lighting myself on fire.
Please don't catch yourself on fire.
I prefer me over the house, mind you, but that's about the limit.
Under the bed he went. Just to give you the gist of how in depth he goes with these. He goes under the beds, under dressers. We open up dresser drawers. We open up closets. With anything that has any storage area in it whatsoever that you can get to, open it.
Again, I do the windows. I've got a couple sets of windows, so I'm going to do a couple sets. Place on the cross, claim this is God's territory, so nothing evil or malicious allowed to enter this location from this day forth. If you have fans, cut them off. We want to control the smoke for a change. The fans can help. If you have a window fan that's blowing or in one direction, you can put it in front of that. It will help, but you still need to make sure you go back and get everything. I'm going to switch over to that side so you can continue talking. I'm going to go over there and hit that.
Okay.
The bed itself, if I have somebody who's really been experiencing things in mirrors,
Yeah, especially mirrors.
place on the cross, claim this is God's territory. The bed itself, Heavenly Father, I ask you to bless this location, bless anybody who lays on this bed. Look, you don't have to be strict by somebody else's guides. You can make yours as long as you feel it.
Absolutely.
Hang right there.
Again, in the corners. He's on the opposite side of the bed, doing the corners, under the dresser, everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere that he can get smoke, that's the goal.
There's a chamber pot over there. You should probably stick your head down inside.
He said there's an antique chamber pot over there. You should probably open that and stick your head down there. Blow some smoke.
Appreciate it.
We're good. We're just giving a demonstration here on how it's supposed to be done. Let's be clear. We don't have any negative spirit in our house. He's just trying to show you how you can do this to get rid of them if you do. Or if you just want to help someone else, which is what he does. And guys, when we say everything, we mean everything. Normally, we would even be opening up these dresser drawers, every one of them, for him to blow smoke into. Every single drawer, everything would get smoke. I mean, every detail. Closet doors, everything. Until he has done the entire room and pushed it
Go to that.
Towards the door.
Closets, I'm going to get this.
Yep. I'll open the closet doors because that'll be next. Good thing it's organized right now. And already the room looks like there's fog in it.
Place on the cross, claim this is God's territory.
And notice how he's worked his way around the entire room, but in a sweep so that the smoke is coming with him towards the opening of the door.
Sheila said you got to do that pursed lip breathing to blow off that CO2 like she showed you.
All right.
I love you, Sheila. Oh my goodness.
Now, very, very important. Again, we have the embers that are very hot, and they can go. So you need to pay attention to them. It's always great if you have somebody else following behind you just to make sure nothing is smoldering.
I always want to make sure you don't leave a little ember somewhere that will light up after you leave the room.
Typically, I leave the doors open because of that. I want to make sure we can go by and pass and, again, look at it.
Yep.
When you're done at the end, you're going to take another walk all through the
Yep.
same area just to make sure.
Double check everything, yeah. Absolutely. Plus, you want to leave the client's house the way you found it.
Yeah, not burnt to the
100%.
ground, yeah.
You want to make sure that you've went back through and you've checked everything and you've now closed up those areas that you opened.
Again, I usually do it on the door frames or doors. It really doesn't matter, but I usually do both sides. Place the sign across again. Claim this as God's territory, so nothing evil or malicious allowed to enter this location from this day forth.
Again, behind the door, that's a spot that a lot of people would overlook. Again, he's going from side to side until he gets to the opening. That way he's created a wall of smoke that's pushing it out.
This is God's territory, so nothing evil or malicious allowed to enter this location from this day forth. The bathrooms.
I can't get through this doorway.
Sean,
Work it, Sean. Bathrooms. You go to the far end of the bathroom. Shower as well. You're getting everything. Again, don't hang out and not do it.
Yeah, you want to get smoke everywhere. Big deal is make sure your bathroom exhaust fan is not on.
It says if you can't smell that lingering scent of sage for at least a couple days after you're done, you may not have saged heavy enough.
Absolutely agree.
Absolutely.
I'm getting hungry for a pizza.
Sage doesn't smell bad to a lot of people. Especially this one. He relates everything to food.
It's really helpful if you have somebody that can go ahead and open things for you. I know it's going to get a little bit tight, so apologize for it. But even
Again, under the cabinets, even in the bathroom, under the cabinets, the bathroom mirror, don't forget that. And like I said, make sure the bathroom vent is off. Otherwise, it's pulling your smoke right out of the room as fast as you put it in.
You'll hear a lot of people talk about where they opened up all the doors. You're defeating the purpose. We have this wall we're trying to create.
Again, behind the door, big deal.
Place on a cross, claim this is God's territory, so nothing evil.
And then, of course, the mirror.
Same thing for
Faucet.
sinks. Sinks are an entry-exit point, so you want to use those as well. I get to the door, I always do both sides again. It's just my way I do it. Inside, outside, or the other two. Go ahead and go towards the door over there. I'm going to jump through. I would typically be jumping over to the other side without putting a lot of smoke out here, so I go ahead and push that one out. Then we're going down to the next level. We would do the closet. There's a utility closet. We do the same thing. Then we'd go ahead and same thing with putting the boundary up. In this area, you have to get enough smoke. Some of these have very, very high ceilings, and you want to fill it all up. Again, don't rush.
Now you want to make sure you're moving slow enough so that you're building up that wall of smoke as you go.
April said she would have never thought of doing the sinks.
A lot of people wouldn't, April. A lot of people don't ever think about behind the door.
Yeah, the bathtub drain, the sink drain.
Everything. Everything. You really have to think of every crack and crevice where anything could hide.
We'd continue down. Now to go downstairs or towards our out is going to be over here to the right. So I don't want to linger here for long. I'd continue working the circle. Go ahead and go over there when you get a chance. If you have somebody ahead of you, this is what Janie usually does. She's usually ahead of me and she'd be opening. We already walked through the house. We figure out how we're going to do this. I'm going to go to the closet. I hit the closet, same thing. It's a deep closet, so I got to put a lot in there. So I really want to make sure. If you got to move stuff out of your way,
Yeah, we've been known to empty people's closets and then put it all back when we're
climb in
done.
the closet.
Climb in the closet.
And here we're about to see Rob come out of the closet.
You know,
This is why we can't have Sean live, guys.
I knew I was going to get dogs as soon as I came.
I knew. As soon as you said it, I was like, Rob, really? But again, he's filling every crevice. Every bit of that closet will be filled with smoke. And he'll continue around the house until he does every single room and pushes it out. Whichever area he has already planned to be his out. That way you're not walking around the house guessing about, what door do I go out of? Already have that plan in your head where you're going to start and where you need to go to finish. Have you caught yourself on something?
Oh,
you're trying to get your...
Yeah, because it's getting hot.
But do you see what I mean, guys? How fast this gets hot. And believe me, he's tried all different kinds of bowls and ceramics and you name it. They still get really hot.
We'll get you a piece of asbestos to carry around.
We can't do this with him.
You gotta stop.
Why?
Place on a cross. This is God's territory, and nothing evil and malicious allowed to enter this.
Look like you could use a piece of asbestos right now.
Rob, you could just leave that, brother. We get it when we're finished.
Definitely very important working around to the front door.
He can't even look at him now.
No, he's killing me. You don't understand. I'm trying not to cough. I'm trying to breathe. And I got Tom behind the camera, and you guys just don't know.
You have no idea.
Now, we were in a location. I'm going to get a close-up of just the sage itself. So we're in a location with a very large one, and it smolders for a long time. The embers stay hot.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
And as you guys came up the attic steps, which is what we were driving to, there was no more embers. There was no more smoke, no nothing.
Instantly away. No smoke, no embers, nothing. Actually, it took us several times with a lighter to get it lit again.
Place down the cross claims these guys' territory, so nothing evil and malicious allowed to enter this location from this day forth. The door, I'm doing more of a barrier. It's got windows to it. It's got an internal window. Same thing. I want to make sure I don't have any problems. Even afterwards, if it's a really bad location, I'll even be pushing out on the porch and doing it from the opposite side.
Got me sneezing already.
We do have a bathroom. I'm not going to do the bathroom as well. We're going to kind of just walk through the house as though we're doing it. We're going to talk a little bit more.
Right. It's to give you the gist of how you normally do this for your routine.
Any questions so far?
Nah, just people laughing.
Just people laughing. Figures.
Again, we keep the wall of smoke coming through, working side to side. We get over to the windows. We place the sign of the cross on the windows and continue working, because you have to picture as though Janie's standing in front of me. Excuse me. You have to picture it as though it was the negative energy, and that's what I'm trying to push around. I'm pushing that to a certain location. Go all the way across. If you have to move furniture, move the furniture.
Yep. So you can get to where you need to be.
Don't shortcut. You have to think the negative energy does not want to be in the smoke.
Right.
It wants to hide. So you're looking for all those hiding places and try to get anything.
Yes, absolutely. Anything. And like he said, normally everything would be open. Even if you have a coffee table where the top lifts up, like this one does, lift it up. Get inside there. If you have cabinetry that you use for DVDs, CDs, whatever it may be, make sure that's open, that he can get in there. If there are anything underneath the television stand, make sure those are open and he can get in there. Even in the dining room, we would normally open the drawers in the china hutch, everything that had a door or a drawer would be opened and smoke would be blown in there.
Underneath it,
Yeah.
underneath the table, you go everywhere.
Everywhere.
Sean's better at that than I am, but
Going everywhere?
it's the only shot I'll ever get.
He said it's the only shot I'll ever get.
I'll take abuse for it now hard, but it was worth it.
You talking about going everywhere or under the
he's talking
table
about
or?
going everywhere. Make sure the camera's on Rob.
It is on
Looks
Rob.
like it's getting droopy there.
It's on Rob.
So even the tables, you're getting underneath everything. And again, work your way. The negative energy is just off.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that's over there,
He's already created the barrier on this side. Now he's got the barrier on that side. So the negative energy is going to be more or less in front of him, but can dodge back and forth until he finishes putting that wall up in that room to the nearest exit point.
Now, Sheila, you know which one I meant.
I don't want to know.
I'm about to be a man down.
Oh, goodness.
Just that little bit.
Yeah.
Watch your head.
Now I'm about to go right over.
Be careful.
So that's just from the shit just getting up and down.
Exactly.
So you work yourself around, like we said.
Yeah.
Think of the negative energy, but at the same time, if you have anybody up there, eventually, if somebody stays in front of you, they're likely to be plucked with. Something could happen to them. Again, it's to get you to stop.
Yeah. You don't stop what you're doing. You keep going.
Hit the windows. Get lower again. Keep building it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just going to have to even go back over your steps. I mean, if you look at it and it's just not doing it, feel free to go back and then work your way back around.
Yeah, because the goal is to have that room filled with smoke.
I mean, this is calm this is really calm right now by far.
Absolutely, and that's for a reason, simply because this is for a demonstration, not because our house has negative energy.
Right. So we come on in to the kitchen area. We're doing the same thing. even though I don't have a door here, which I should have done on the doorways, but definitely the doorways, any entryway, I still would place the sign across, do the same thing, and then I'm going to work myself in here. I've got another door that goes to the outside. I've got a sink. I'm looking at any of this stuff, and that's what I want to do.
And
The
I would have
cabinets-
all the cabinetry opened before he got into the room so that smoke could be put into every single cabinet above and below. We would even open the dishwasher.
dishwasher,
Oven, everything would get open and smoked up.
Anything is down here, and again, even up underneath. Can you even get that? The island?
Oh yeah.
Even up under the island, we just continue to hit. Yeah, as long as I can see it, basically. Go over to the far side.
Go to the far side,
Well, he's
Luke.
got that smoke blowing right up in his nose. Do you need to sit down a minute?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, don't get him
What
laughing.
happened? Helping. So again, we got the doorway. Doors that have windows, I'm going to do one of the panes. You don't have to do every pane. Later on, if you're cleaning up and you wipe the cross off, it's not going to do anything. The barrier's still there. Relax. Same thing for the window. I go to the window, I go ahead and place the sign of the cross, claim this guy's territory. The fans are off. Again, no smoke detectors in here. For
No
good
exhaust
reason.
vents are on.
Exhaust vents are off, right? So now we get to a point where we're looking to push it out. So before I even got into the kitchen, because you want to leave a good buffer between you and the exit point, I would have Janie or whoever go open the door.
Yep, down to the basement.
Doorway, Janie's going to show you the doorway here in a second. I would continue working back and forth towards Janie. That doorway, just pretend it's like your basement door, your exit going out of your building. That's our exit point.
And if you look at me as the evil spirit,
Right.
Sometimes.
stop. He's pushing me to where I have no choice but to go down because there's smoke everywhere else. The prayer has already protected everywhere else. The holy water is already protected everywhere else. The only place I have to go now is down. And when I go down, it's like, well, where do you go now? He's going to be right behind me, pushing more smoke, right to left, side to side, until he gets me to the open doorway of the exit point where he wants to push
Don't
me
let it
out.
go above you. Again, remember, that's a good void up there.
Yep.
Make sure you're hitting it well because the negative energy does not want to leave. It's looking for where can I go. Once I get to this level, I would read the prayer again. I don't do the Lord's Prayer all over again. I would go ahead and just read the one prayer that I had. And even when I get here to the end, once I get done saging back and forth, I hope that's not live.
I don't
Can
know.
you take that out of here? Because I really don't want to hear that sound. If you just take it over on the desk, it'll be all right. So, again, we're working low, back and forth until we get right to the doorway itself. And making sure this is where you're going to spend your time at. You want to make sure, I don't care how much the wind is blowing or anything else, you want to hit this. The door doesn't have to be cracked but more than like 4 to 6 inches. It doesn't have to be huge or anything like that. Don't be alarmed because it has happened where the doorknob, especially if this was a regular typical basement, you have a door up there, you shut it behind you. When you get to a point where it's very narrow that you're pushing something out of, sometimes it's going to try to go through that anyway and it'll start shaking the doorknob. I know that sounds crazy as hell. It's really cool when you see it because there's nobody doing it. You see the doorknob going like that.
It's only cool for him when he sees it. I see what's doing it.
But see why it's cool?
That's not cool to me.
So again, work your doorway, but do not slow down. When you get just at the edge of the doorway, you're still going to blow it outside the house. Outside the house, I'm going all the way back around.
Yep.
And then I'm also placing the barriers with the holy water. Place sign on the cross, claim this is God's territory, so nothing evil and malicious is allowed to enter this location from this day forth. And I'm going back and forth a little outside. It's perfectly fine. It's not going to hurt anything. The sage itself, for most of us that do it, we believe, we're returning things to Mother Earth. So the ashes and the sage itself that you're not using anymore, we put outside, we grind it out, but then give it back to Mother Earth to go ahead and recycle. That just makes sense to us. They don't go out very easily.
Which is why it's very shocking when one that's burning blood red for about 1/4 of an inch on the tip of it goes out completely.
I'm just getting closer. It's all right.
Oh, okay.
As long as you can see it. You can see it's still smoking. And I'm trying to grind it out. But when we had that happen, with her walking up a couple steps, There was no smoke, no nothing.
No, there was
They
no
just
smoke, no
completely.
embers, no nothing.
It was done.
And it took a couple of times with the lighter to get it back up.
So again, you can see it's not going out right away. We're going to go back down to the office where we're at, and we'll sit right back like we did originally to start with. And we can answer any questions.
Oh shit, this ain't gonna work out so well.
That's nice. All right, no problem.
Gina's on.
What's that?
Gina Rutledge is on.
Cast iron.
Gina!
I know it won't go through burn anything if it goes through. I'll put it on the cast iron.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So again, you'd have somebody would go back through the house just to make sure, especially like the attic, things that are out of sight, your closets. We want to make sure. The smoke would linger. I let the smoke linger really thick for at least 20 minutes. That's just me. I want to make sure there ain't no chance something's going to come back in. The smoke is going to move throughout the house no matter what. After that, you can open as many windows as you want. We've had fire departments called before because of smoke billowing out.
We've
Literally.
had neighbors come over and ask clients.
Sandy Griffin asked, what would you suggest if you can't smell smoke for medical reasons?
If you can't smell smoke,
For medical reasons,
medical
she
reasons.
can't inhale smoke of any kind for medical reasons, such as
they have the
COPD.
spray.
Yeah.
They do have the spray. It's the sage spray. Now, do I use that? I've had the person out of the house. Anybody that has medical issues, I've done it with people on oxygen and it's not affected them. Other people I can see it affecting.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Maybe they had enough antifreeze and it didn't affect them. I don't know.
Right.
If the person themselves is not really affected, like with an attachment, take them out of the house. Anybody else that you can have in the house is fine. Children I usually have out of the house. I don't want them getting freaked out. I want them to come in and go, it smells funny, but they don't report or have any issues.
Exactly.
That's giving you as a homeowner or a team, that's giving you an idea. The kids, if you don't say anything to the children besides them smelling something,
Right.
and they don't know, but yet they have no more issues,
Exactly.
what a great indicator.
Absolutely. And how many times has that happened with children and pets?
Yes.
And pets.
We've had people after we've done this where, like, say the daughter had a imaginary friend that was supposedly imaginary that wasn't, and then afterwards she'd say, "John left. He's not
Yeah,
coming
he's
back.
not
no
here
more."
anymore. He won't be back anymore. Yep.
Why? Now, was it a placebo? I mean,
Yeah, the child didn't
see
know
it.
what we were there for.
Right.
She had no idea.
So, again, you're working with the mentality, but it is very extremely effective. So,
Gina said a sage essential oil. Would you recommend?
yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. People that are having problems, no different with easy test for you. If you have extremely bad dreams, you have sleep paralysis, you don't even have to burn it. You can use the essential oil, as Gina was talking about, with sage.
Miss Gina, you can also get sage candles
Sage
that don't put
incense.
off a lot of smoke, but they put off the scent.
You can take sage bundles. For a bedroom, I'd usually use 2, not even open them. Put them on a plate or something and just let them sit there. If your children are having issues with something, you don't even have to tell them, hide it. Just set it up on a shelf out of sight.
Yeah, the incense. You can get the smokeless incense. Some of the cube ones that you get will actually be smokeless. They'll put off the scent like a candle does, but there'll be no smoke. You won't see any smoke come from it, but it'll put off that really strong scent.
And again, going back to the diffusers. Diffusers are excellent. The first thing to do, though, is you want to make sure yourself or anybody else, if you start experiencing things, especially when you know it's messing with your sleep patterns, you got to start with your sanctuary, your bedroom.
Yeah.
If you don't do anything else, protect your sleep, protect your mind while you're sleeping.
Because that's when you're your most vulnerable, is when
Yes.
you're asleep and your mind is still. You are at the most vulnerable state you will ever be at.
Absolutely.
And that's usually where most clients tell us that the negative stuff starts to affect them, is usually in their bedrooms.
It's a target. I mean, it wants you to go ahead and lose sleep. It wants to, because you're
Yeah.
vulnerable, and the more sleep you lose, the more vulnerable you become. Because your
Exactly.
senses just are not there.
Yep, you can't focus.
Now, if you
or
don't want to
anything.
blow it, and you have to be careful, because blowing on sage, it does pop from time to time, and you don't want to obviously get something in your face. I'm not recommending that. If you want to use, Sean, can you grab one of those feathers that Laura made?
Please and thank you.
Not in front of the camera.
Pardon us,
necessarily,
guys.
Sorry, everybody.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna smack him.
I'm telling you, he won't have another job doing this after this one.
One of our old teammates, Laura, made some of these, which work really, really well.
Yeah.
You can buy all kinds of different ways as far as to go ahead and waft the smoke. It's certainly, even using your hand is better than nothing. Instead
You can
of
even
just
get
barely,
the little battery-operated handheld fans
Yep.
that go on low or medium. Even on high, they don't blow very hard, but on low or medium, they would blow the same as your breath would, so you don't have to worry about blowing sparks everywhere. But that's a great way to blow the smoke
Good
without actually having to get yourself out of breath. We should have probably picked you up one of those today. I didn't think about it
No
until
big
right
deal.
now.
Eventually, even if you use that in a negative location, they can knock your battery out. We know they can
Well,
break
yeah,
batteries,
absolutely.
things go down. But instead of just going through and just doing that little dabble in each room and going, oh, it didn't work.
No. Well, I've had some people say, well, I burned the sage in my living room for all night. I'm like, where were you experiencing the issue to begin with? Well, in my bedroom. Then why did you burn the sage in your living room?
But that's-
Well, somebody told them. Now, this, just again, another thing that people put out there is, well, if you burn it in the lowest point of your house, smoke will rise and it'll go into every crevice anyway. Well, if you're burning it in the basement and you have 2 levels, by the time it gets to the top level, if it seeps up to the top level, it's not going any further than some cracks in the floorboards. That's it.
Yeah, it does. You might smell it. We want a thick wall of smoke. We want to. You're physically have to have in your mind. You're physically pushing that out.
Yeah.
Convince yourself that's the whole thing. So if you start skipping things, you're like, I don't really want to do it.
Yeah, I'm not crawling in there. You better.
Now, some of you guys already know about this story, and again, this is the same situation. I had a gentleman who was across country. He was definitely afraid of the negativity. He was in a really bad spot. He had medical issues that the doctors could not figure out why he was having all these medical issues. And I had sent him out the care package. Eventually, he finally, when it got bad enough, when his mother was being drugged by her hair across the floor, and yes, it really happened, he finally got to a point where he was really ready to go ahead and take any step he needed to protect his parents. And he treated the house to the basement door. He was terrified of the basement. So again, he sealed the basement like I was showing you, left the door shut. For 2 weeks, they had no activity anymore. And his medical issues, he had some other medical issues, but his medical issues that they couldn't explain went away immediately. Done.
Yeah.
After he did the saging. No activity for a couple of weeks. And then he went downstairs into the basement to get somebody a can of tomato paste. Said it wasn't by his choosing. And then, well, you kind of possibly break the seal. You don't want to let that thing come back, whatever it is.
But if you open it and you don't have that barrier in that open space where you are anymore, it's a perfect opportunity for it to come back out, which is why it's important to get it out of the house, not just confined to one spot.
Fortunately, he got somebody to come with him who was a priest and did not believe in evil until that day. I assure you, he now believes in evil. And while I was talking to him, the Amish were actually there to put the door on, build a new door for the back.
Yeah.
Because it literally threw him down a few times and the priest into the wall and blew the door off the back as it left. It sounds incredible, and I get it.
It does. It sounds like something from a movie, but I'm telling you, when you experience it, you'll see.
You know, we've had animals, again, where people would say the animal is completely scared, will not come out from its location, its kennel, whatever.
Yeah.
We've had animals that were supposedly dying of cancer. We've had so many different...
We've had animals that became vicious towards their owners when they never were before.
Yes.
And then after cleansing, they're loving and playing with the kids and everything else.
For if you're a homeowner or somebody at a location, or even if you're treating it, making the homeowner or the client understand, if they have animals, especially dogs, they are a great indicator because the dog's going to get over it and is not played so much with the mind as much as we are.
Right,
Humans,
and they usually sense it way before humans do because they can pick up on those energies.
So if you start seeing your dog back to its normal routine prior to this influence,
after weeks of not being the same dog, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, my dog's back again. The way he was before.
Exactly.
That's...
Oh, shit.
What'd you hit now?
How do I flip the camera back around?
Oh, you're back over on your side?
Oh,
Yeah.
That little round thing?
Sean.
The round thing.
You see a little round thing with arrows?
Rob, you may have to go help him.
Nope.
Come on, Sean. You can do it.
don't
Everybody
see-
look
We
at
should
Sean.
not
Say
have
thank
tried
you,
this
Sean.
with Sean without a
I don't
trial
see a little
run.
round thing with arrows. Oh, there it is.
Told you should have did a rehearsal with the camera for
Oh,
him.
shit. They didn't do it.
Don't say it didn't do it.
It didn't do it.
If you can still hear us, as Sean is now being
They
kicked
can
out of
see
our
me.
text line. People always want to have attention on the phone and whatnot. Great.
Guys, this should scare you. That man was a Marine. That should scare you.
Oh, you're going to end us up like this.
See?
Yeah, it shouldn't have gone over there in the first place.
I
see.
know.
No, you're the one that hit it. Bear with us, guys.
Obviously, that's not the right one.
There's no other one.
I know.
Well, how did you get it like that?
I don't know.
If we knew, it'd be back already.
I'm telling you guys, we got to come up with a comedy reel.
The freaking magic.
Either that or we're going to have to
You can spin the
Yeah.
camera around.
give Sean
Yeah, here.
another job.
Let's
Thank you
do
very
this.
much. Bring it closer. Tilt it down. Get it.
Honest to goodness.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
Now y'all can read your own comments.
You can bring it a little bit closer. That's good. Now tilt it down a little bit. Thank you. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you don't have your phone.
Leave it to Sean.
It's still outside. Guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up since we had a wonderful situation develop here. Thank you, sir.
So you got a tutorial on how to do a cleansing
And,
and a
how not to
little
mess with the
comedy.
phone.
Yes. Just don't touch buttons on the phone after it's running.
Do it on purpose.
Yeah. What time is it? Is it getting to your
Everybody
bedtime?
asks, how come you never have Sean online?
Now you know.
Now
There you go.
know.
If you have questions about cleansing, feel free to ask. I mean, again, we enjoy doing this. This method, there's other methods out there. I stick with what works.
Yeah.
And this has worked so many times. When you're done at the end, you need to also sit down with the client. You got to go, again, reinforce. Look, you can't be inviting anything in there. You can't turn
Right.
around. What do you... Oh, you just...
I was
check.
trying to.
That's all right.
I can't get back to where the comments are.
As long as you don't touch a little...
That's what I was trying to do the first time.
I told you you should have let him get comfortable with that phone first.
I told you you should... What? Shut
Told
up.
you should have had Sean practice that phone camera first.
Did you hear that conversation, or was that in her mind again?
No, I said it in the
Oh, I
kitchen
think it was
about
in her
10 minutes before we started.
I think it was in her mind. Stop it. Jeez. The things you have to do when you...
But guys, we wanted this in all
Freddie said you
seriousness.
can't blame me on this one.
We wanted to this.
If you were here, I'd have never had to mess with that camera.
We wanted this to be a learning experience for everybody who's interested in it. But we also wanted it to be fun and laid back for everybody. Not that we take the subject lightly at all. It's just it's Friday night, so why not make it fun?
It's
And
Thursday.
it's
Thursday night.
Oh, why am I thinking it's Friday still?
I don't know. I keep telling her...
Oh my God, I
Again.
thought that like 3 times today.
Love
I
that.
wish. Living with you two, I need it. But still, we wanted it to be fun. We wanted everybody to relax and have fun. But we wanted to get out there how we do it because he gets so many emails and comments about how do what's the
I've got the comments.
routine that you go through when you do these cleansings. Could we try what you do? So that's why Rob wanted to go over it tonight. He wanted to make sure that he put everything out there on how we do it. If anybody wants to use it that way, great. If you don't, that's great too, but at least you know how we do it and what works for us.
Everybody that has shared so far, thank you so much for sharing.
Yes,
I
thanks,
sincerely
guys.
Appreciate it. I was just letting Sean know I've got the comments so I can get away from my phone.
From
and
the camera.
I'm scared.
I
Oh,
am.
but we are.
So now you're done with the cleansing. You have the cleansing done. Make sure you watch anything that was hot. Keep it. Go do another final check. That would be your last check that you'll do.
Yep.
Make sure that everything's put back like the client had if it's a client's house. If you're about to do this, and it's something I didn't mention in the first place that you really need to look at, clutter. Dude, clutter is negativity in all sincerity. And there's a lot of stuff that hides in clutter if you allow it. So if you just have so much stuff everywhere,
Are those clients that sometimes will have the storage totes like you store Christmas things in? they'll have them stacked, but then there'll be an open space behind them.
Yes.
If you can't get back there to that open space, so sometimes we have to move things, but we are respectful and we go back through the house afterwards and make sure that everything is put back exactly the way we found it.
Thank you guys so much for the compliments. We honestly do appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
we're just trying
Absolutely.
to share with what we've learned.
Yep. And have a little fun while we're doing it.
Yeah. It just gets annoying hearing people talk about, what doesn't work and this, that, and people are so quick to put a knife into something when,
Yeah.
no, we've done houses that they've actually made movies of. They are in the process of making movies of. We just can't say which ones they are. We've been to certain locations, and then the other ones now they're like, can you make it sound scary type of thing?
Yeah.
No, we won't deal with that.
No.
But once you have the client to a point where things have chilled down, most people, 99% of the time, they're going to say, well, it feels real light in here, a lot lighter or something. They actually feel a decompression.
Sometimes, even with all that smoke in the house, when we're finished, the smoke will linger for hours sometimes. And even with all that smoke in the house, you'll hear people say, I feel like I can finally take a deep breath again.
Yes.
Even with all that smoke in the house, it's like they felt like there was a weight on them for so long.
When you, again, try to reorganize the house like you found it, take any of your belongings and any of your trash. Please do not leave that at somebody's house. Get it cleaned up. And once you leave letting them knowing that you're going to contact them. You're going to be in touch with them. We do within 24 to 48 hours, typically 24. But I tell all the clients, look, don't worry. I'm not leaving you at this point.
Right.
I am going to go, but I will be following up tomorrow or the next day, and I want to make sure everything's all right with you. That gives them a feeling of comfort that they're not on an island alone, and it's a big deal. Again, you're working on this too. It's not just working.
And the biggest thing is, because they do know we're coming before we get there, Rob always lets the client know ahead of time. Things may rev up just a little bit before we get there, because sometimes if they know we're coming and what we're coming to do, they'll rev up energy to try to scare off the client, try to scare him from having anybody come in the house. We've had that several times.
And that's happened. I mean, actually, it has been effective enough where the people are like, no, I don't think it's a good idea for you to come because
things were bad, but as soon as we contacted you, they got really bad because they knew we were coming and what we were coming to do.
This is an easy process. Understanding just how strange things are with energies, knowing we're coming to a location before we even know that we're going there.
Yeah.
But we've done this enough that it really does happen that way. It's an amazing field and it's awesome.
Absolutely. And we could sit here and tell you about it all day long.
Yes.
But if you're not willing to get out there and do it for yourself so that you can experience some of the things that we've experienced, then all we can do is tell you what works for us. It's up to you if you believe it or not. What's the old saying? It's only up to me as to how I put it out there. It's up to you as to how you perceive it.
Shay was like, I actually had tears on my cheeks while Rob was walking me through the steps, and I nearly shat myself when I saw this gray figure moving in front of her. In all sincerity, I could see that she was actually fighting a door at one point. When she first saw it, scared the hell out of her. Then it was behind a door, and she's moving through her house, and we're doing this live on video chat so that I could see her and I could help do things with her. And then you could see her. I could see her physically struggling with the door, trying to push the door one way, and the door is coming back towards her. So, no doubt that could be a scary
situation. But that's
situation.
how powerful it is.
Yes.
You can do it over the phone with someone from another state, from another country.
Yep. And
it still works.
So, to me, you don't have to knock down houses to get rid of evil. I honestly believe that you can go ahead and all locations can be treated. It's just you have to be willing to do it.
Yep.
And again, if you shortcut, you decide, I don't really think I need to do that area.
Yeah, you have to be willing to do it, but you have to be willing to do all of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
To be effective. And in the summertime, attics, you got to be very careful because sometimes you have to go across the crawl spaces. I did one down in North Carolina and was probably literally about 130, 140 degrees up there. It was the perfect, if you want to make a scary movie.
Yeah.
I had to walk across.
That would have been it.
Yeah, because in the attic, you have these 2x4s that are actually making up the trusses, and you have insulation. You kind of have to feel where they're at so you don't step through the drywall. And there's all these gnarly nails hanging out, and I was just recovering over my arm, so I could only use one arm, and I'm like trying to get between. It was a scary movie situation.
And again, this is how passionate we are about this. when you've just had surgery on your arm, yet someone contacts you and says, I desperately need a cleansing for my house, bad things are happening, and you get in your car with your arm still in a sling and drive to this location and even climb around into their attic to take care of this for them. Grown folk don't do that if they don't know what they're doing is real. You know what I'm saying?
And again, it was all free. You know,
Exactly.
we do this free.
Exactly.
So
We didn't have he didn't have cameras on him. Nobody would have ever known he did that had he not sat here and just said it. It's not something that we do for notoriety at all.
Correct.
Not at all. And if it wasn't working, then why would we do it?
Oh, we're having trouble playing this video anymore. Alrighty. We say we're live up there, but on my computer it's not. That makes it a little difficult.
Guys, can you give us a thumbs up if we're still live?
It says we're live, but
In all seriousness,
all right. Well, now let's hear it.
I don't see any thumbs up yet, but it says we're live.
They're shooting up now.
There
Thank
we
you so
go.
much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
I can't see the comments because it's not showing on this. So I'm going to turn it back on. We're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's beneficial for somebody. Even
Please,
if it helps
guys,
one
if
person.
there's any questions that we might not have gotten to because somebody had the camera, put them in the comments anyway. We come across them, we'll answer them. And if not, we'll see you on Sunday at noon so that you can ask them then.
And this is on our page, so it's a lot easier. How did that just happen?
A whole lot easier.
Who's got the big thumbprint up there?
It's not. I didn't touch it.
He didn't touch
Do you
it.
see it up there?
I see
Oh, I
it, but I
see
don't
it.
know how
Is
it
that-
got there.
And
Is
somebody
that
made
a
a
comment?
Oh,
comment. It's a
that's
comment.
under
That's a hell of a
someone's
comment.
comment.
It's a
Yeah.
comment.
All of a sudden, I just see this big yellow.
Boy, I wish all the print was that big. I'd be able to see it from here.
Guys, have a great night. Again, Sunday night, don't forget, or Sunday day.
Sunday
noon. We'll
noon.
be back on. And we're going to do some more of these coming up as far as that in the evening time. So we can
Yeah, we'll have a lot
around.
of impromptus to give some, I don't want to say details, but to give some more information about things that we do. Because everybody's curious. So instead of sitting here every Sunday telling you, we're in a position where we can jump on live anytime and show you. So
A lot of people have been asking when we're going to go live on our investigations, and I'm really trying to get over this so that we can do that. It's not a situation we really want to get into and not know whether or not we can actually complete it. We'd like to do one correct, and hopefully not too much longer. We're hoping to start doing a couple of live investigations. That would be great.
but again, I think that's what makes our team and our page so authentic is we're not scripted. Yeah, we might get somebody that has a coffin fit in the middle of something, but you're seeing it real and raw. There's nothing cut. There's nothing planned out ahead of time. Usually the only thing that's planned is Rob tells Sean, no doing anything that can come across on camera, and then he tells me, no cussing.
I will go back and review and try to watch for any questions that we missed.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
try to answer those. So even if this is over and you're watching a retake, since it's on our page, I will get notifications. We will get notifications that we have messages or somebody's made a comment on it. And we'll read them. And if it's a comment that you have a question about, I'll answer it as well for you.
Right.
So
And
don't
if we, like I
hesitate.
said, if we don't get to all of them, come back again on Sunday and you can ask and
There you
we'll
go.
try to get to them then.
Do you see that where it says finish at?
I see that.
Can you mind?
We're going to try this, guys.
Good night, guys. We're going
Good
to
night, everybody. Thanks.
Hopefully. Maybe.